Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Twenty-five. 34. Okay, text 34. Tato tishta shva krito kritamahanam pushpai suga apsarascha nartanale gitai shuravadya tarascha vadyakai stavascha piprojaya nahishvanergana tato tishtasva krito kitahanam pushpe shuga apsarascha nartanai gitai shuravadya tarascha vadyakai stavaischa viprajaya nivashanerganaha tato trisvashva krito kitharanam pushpai shuga apsarascha natainai gitai shuravadya darascha vadyakai stavais viprajaya nihashvanegana tato tishtva shva krito karanam pushpe shugurapsarascha natai gitai shuravadya darascha vadyakai stavascha viprajaya nihashvanergana tato tristashta shvakrito kitahanam pushpai shugarapsarascha natakam gitai suravadya darascha vadyakai stavaischa viprajaya nishvanergana tato tirashta shvakrito kritanam pushpe sugurapsarascha natanai gitai suravadya darascha vadyakai Savischati prajaya nishpanaganai. Tata, thereafter, Atihrishta, everyone becoming very much pleased. Shvakrita, own respective duty. Akrita, executed. Arhanam, in the shape of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pushpa, by showering flowers grown in Nandanandana from the heavens. Shuga, the celestial singers. Apsharasha, Cha, and the celestial dancing girls. Nartanai, by dancing. Gitai, by singing celestial songs. Shura, all the demigods. Vadyadharacha, those who played on musical drums. Vadyakai, by playing respectively. Shtavaicha, and by offering prayers. Vipra, the Brahmanas. Jaya Nishvanai, simply by glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ganai, everyone. The translation in purple by His Divine Grace of Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thereafter, everyone being pleased, the demigods began to shower flowers from Nandanandana. The celestial dancing girls began to dance, and the Gandharvas, who are famous for singing, offered songs of prayers. The drummers began to beat the kettle drums, and the Brahmanas offered the Vedic hymns. In this way, both the heavens and on the earth, everyone began to perform his own respective duties, glorifying the Lord. I'll read from text 25 up until 34. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is situated as Antiyami, the super soul in the core of everyone's heart, heard the boys talking among themselves about the artificial python. Unknown to them, it was actually Agashura, a demon who had appeared as a python. Krishna, knowing this, wanted to forbid his associates to enter into the demon's mouth. In the meantime, while Krishna was considering how to stop them, all the cowherd boys entered the mouth of the demon. The demon, however, did not swallow them, for he was thinking of his own relatives who had been killed by Krishna and was just waiting for Krishna to enter his mouth. Krishna saw all the cowherd boys who did not know anything or anyone but him as their Lord had now gone out of his hand, and they were helpless, having entered like straws into a fire, into the abdomen of Agashura, who was death personified. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from his friends, the cowherd boys. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure what to do. Now, what was to be done? How could both the killing of this demon and the saving of the devotee be performed simultaneously? Krishna, being unlimitedly potent, decided to wait for an intelligent means by which he could simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. Then he entered the mouth of Agashura. Purport. Krishna is known as Ananta Birya Sarvagga because everything is known to him. Because he knows everything perfectly well, it was not difficult for him to find the means by which he could save the boys and at the same time kill the demon. And thus he decided to enter into the demon's mouth. When Krishna entered the mouth of Agashura, the demigods hidden in the clouds exclaimed, "Alas, alas!" But the friends of Agashura, like Kamsa and other demons, were jubilant. When the invincible, Supreme Personality of Godhead heard the demigods crying, "Alas, alas!" from behind the clouds, he immediately enlarged himself within the demon's throat, just to save himself and the cowherd boys, his own associates, from the demon who wished to smash them. Purport. Such are the acts of Krishna. Paritranaya sadhunam vinishashaya chaduskritam. Bhagavad Gita 4:8. By enlarging himself within the throat of the demon, Krishna suffocated and killed him. And at the same time, he saved himself and his associates from imminent death. And he also saved the demigods from lamentation. Then, because of Krishna had increased the size of his body, the demon extended his own body to a very large size. Nonetheless, his breathing stopped. He suffocated, and his eyes rolled here and there and then popped out. The demon's life air, however, could not pass through any outlet, and therefore it finally burst through the hole in the top of the demon's head. When the demon's life air was passed away through the hole in the top of his head, Krishna glanced over the dead calves and the cowherd boys and brought them back to life. Then Mukunda, who can give one liberation, came out from the demon's mouth with his friends and the calves. From the body of the gigantic python, a glaring effulgence came out, illuminating all directions, and stayed individually in the sky until Krishna came out from the corpse's mouth. Then, as all the demigods looked on, the effulgence entered Krishna's body. Purport. Apparently, the serpent named Agashur, because of having received association with Krishna, attained mukti by entering Krishna's body. Entering the body of Krishna is called Sayuja Mukti. But later verses prove that Agashura, like Dantavakra and others, received Sarup Mukti. This has been broadly described by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur with reference from the Vaishnava Toshani of Srila Jiva Goswami. Agashura attained Sarupya Mukti, being promoted to the Vaikuntha planet to live with the same four-armed bodily features as Vishnu. The explanation of how it may be so may be summarized as follows. The effulgence came out from the python's body and became purified, attaining spiritual Shuddha Sattva, freedom from material contamination. Because Krishna had stayed within the serpent's body, even after the serpent's death, one may doubt that such a demon full of mischievous activities could attain liberation of Sarupya or Sayuja, and one may be astonished about this. But Krishna is so kind that in order to drive away such doubts, he had the effulgence or the individual life of the python wait for some time in its individuality in the presence of all the demigods. Krishna is the full effulgence, and every living being is a part and parcel of that effulgence, as proved here. The effulgence in every living being is individual. For some time the effulgence remained outside of the demon's body, individually, and did not mix with the whole effulgence. The Brahmajyoti. The Brahman effulgence is not visible to material eyes, but to prove that every living being is individual, Krishna had the individual effulgence stay outside of the demon's body for some time for everyone to see. Then Krishna proved that anyone killed by him attains liberation, whether Sayuja, Sarupya, Samipya, or whatever. But the liberation of those who are on the transcendental platform of love and affection is vimukti, special liberation. Thus the serpent first entered the body of Krishna personally. Thus the serpent first entered the body of Krishna personally and mixed with the Brahman effulgence. This merging is called Sayuja Mukti. But from later verses we find that the Aghasura attained Sarupya Mukti. Text 38 explains that Aghasura attained a body exactly like that of Vishnu. And the verse after that also clearly states that he attained a completely spiritual body like that of Narayana. Therefore, in 2 or 3 places, the Bhagavatam has confirmed that Aghasura attained Swayupya Mukti. One may then argue, how is it that he mixed with the Brahman effulgence? The answer is that as Jai and Vijay, after 3 births, again attained Sarup Mukti, the association with the Lord, Aghasura received similar liberation. Thereafter, everyone being pleased, the demigods began to shower flowers from the Nandanandana, the gardens. The celestial dancing girls began to dance, and the Gandharvas, who are famous for singing, offered prayers. The drummers began to beat their kettle drums, and the Brahmanas offered Vedic hymns. In this way, both in the heavens and on the earth, everyone began to perform his own duties, glorifying the Lord. Purport. Everyone has some particular duty. The Shastra has concluded, Nirupita, that everyone should glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his qualifications. If you are a singer, always glorify the Supreme Lord by singing very nicely. If you are a musician, glorify the Supreme Lord by playing musical instruments. Svanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Bhagavatam 1-13. The perfection of life is to satisfy the personality of Godhead. Therefore, beginning from this earth up to the celestial kingdom, everyone engaged in glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The decision of all the great saintly persons is that whatever qualifications one has acquired should be utilized to glorify the Supreme Lord. Idam hi pumsha tapasya shutasya var shivatshaya shuktasya cha buddhadatvayo havichito rita kavibir nirupito yadutama shloka gunavanavarnanam. Learned sages have definitely concluded that the infallible purpose of advancement of knowledge, austerity, Vedic study, sacrifice, and chanting of hymns, and charity is found in the transcendental descriptions of the qualities of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Bhagavatam 1:5-22. This is the perfection of life. One should be trained how to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's respective qualities, education, austerity, penances, or in the modern world, business, industry, education, and so on. All should be engaged in glorifying the Lord. Then everyone in this world will be happy. Krishna comes, therefore, to exhibit his transcendental activities so that the people may have a chance to glorify him in every respect. To understand how to glorify the Supreme Lord is actual research work. It is not that everything should be understood without God. That is condemned. Bhagavat bhakti hinasya jatai shastram japatastapa pranas yoiva dehasya nandanan lokam ranjanam. From the Hari Bhakti Shuddhadaya. Without Bhagavat Bhaktas, without glorifying the Supreme Lord, whatever we have is simply a decoration on a dead body. Om Tat Sat. So Srila Prabhupada says here at the end of the verse, Krishna comes therefore and performs to exhibit his wonderful transcendental activities so people may have a chance to glorify him through every respect. So this is the reason the Lord comes here personally, to show his wonderful pastimes, his uncommon pastimes, and his different features. Because people have a tendency to go towards impersonal realization when people start on the spiritual path. That is a natural tendency. It's a little bit easier to comprehend. Everything is coming from one thing, Brahmans. So Krishna comes and he shows you, look, I have a form. Here it is. Tribangi, puts his Tribangi form. This is my flute, Pamsi. This is my peacock feather in my head. This is my pitamba. This is my yellow cloth. This is my Govardhan. This is my Balaram. This is my Radharani. These are my cows. These are my pastimes. This is Vrindavan. And many, many other places where the Lord appears. He does so to show you don't have to speculate anymore what is God. Krishna said, I am come to show you what is God. You don't have to try to speculate or understand through philosophically understanding. But Krishna comes and says, here I am. And here are my activities. Look, I've just killed Aghasura. Who could have ever imagined how to kill a serpent 8 miles long? But Krishna did that. Choked him to death. Aghasura. So this is just one pastime of Krishna. But now we're 5,000 years later on after Krishna's finished his pastime. But we're sitting here right now, and what are we doing? We're glorifying the activities and form and pastimes of Krishna. So if Krishna didn't come, then what would we have to look at? What would we have to chant about? What would we have to remember? That he's coming, not here. So think about me, this form. Manmana Bhapa Bhakto. Worship me, worship you, come to me. Now we've got something to meditate on. Now we've got something to worship. Now we've got something to understand. Krishna is come and his person is showing his form and his pastimes, etc. So this is the greatness of Krishna. So Prabhupada said, to put an end to speculation, Krishna comes and performs these wonderful pastimes and engages everyone in his service. So that's Krishna. He does his little bit. He's gone that far. We have to look, see the form of Krishna, remember the form of Krishna, speak of the form. Krishna's already come and showed us everything, but that gives us now an opportunity to speak and hear. That we have to do. That is the purpose of our life. It mentions here. So, there's like a controversy here. In the text translation of 27, Dishta Kritina means, that's in the sloka, Krishna. Dishta Kritina means, translation, by things arranged by the internal potency. Vishmita, he was also for the time being very astonished. He said that Krishna saw that all the cowherd boys who didn't know anything but him or anyone but him as their Lord had now gone out of his hand and were helpless, having entered like straws into the fire of the abdomen of Aghasura, who was death personified. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from the friends and cowherd boys. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure of what to do. You remember another time when Krishna was struck with wonder and lamented? Who? Oh, Balaram. Yeah. Another one with Krishna was when Shalva, the mystic juggler, he had that wonderful aeroplane, could do anything. He came before Krishna with Krishna's father, Vasudeva. He said, Krishna, this is your father. Just see how I kill him. He immediately took off his sword and cut his head off to Vasudeva. And Krishna said, no, how can it be? No, it can't be like that. he was bewildered. He saw his father's head cut off. Then after a few moments he realized this is the mystic juggler, Salva. He was a very mystical person. No one was there, the body wasn't there, the head was there, it disappeared. So Krishna momentarily but he's a big speaker of Bhagavad Gita, telling how one should be controlled, he shouldn't become overcome by the senses, and giving us a big talk of Bhagavad Gita. But here again, this is a controversy here. Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure of what to do. And in the Krishna book, it says, Krishna was struck with wonder at how the external energy works so wonderful. So in the Bhagavatam it said how Krishna was struck with wonder how the internal potency is working so wonderfully. And in Krishna book it says Krishna was struck with wonder at how the external energy works so wonderful. But Bhagavatam says, therefore, seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder. What are the answers to the question? Was it the internal potency manifesting or the external potency? Krishna book is summary study of Bhagavatam. Any answers? One? There's one energy. Yeah, that's one energy. Yogamaya, Mahamaya, there's not two energies. It's one potency. One is simply reflected from the other. The original potency is Yogamaya. And the reflection is Mahamaya. So now Krishna is saying they're both wonderful. So which one we should accept? They're both wonderful. Krishna said he's covered by his Yogamaya, therefore we cannot understand him. Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Bhakti Shastri. Okay. Any others? suggestions. I quite like that in the Krishna book. Every time I read that part, how Krishna was bewildered by his external energy, I thought that was great. But now we have it influenced by the Yogamaya potency. Yeah, it's the same potency. Vedanta Sutra said it cannot be two potency. So what's the answer? Both. You were saying both. Both are present there. Keshavi Mataji. Both are present, yeah. I think that's... I didn't see it in Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur's commentary that he didn't mention like being covered by Mahamaya. He mentioned being covered by Yogamaya. Anyway, both are actually right. You can say both are right. Because for Krishna, there's no difference. His external potency, his internal potency. There's no difference. They're both his energies. For us, there is a difference. But both of these energies are Krishna's. So for Krishna, it really doesn't matter how Agasura appeared, and Krishna got bewildered. So it doesn't matter if it was the internal potency or the external potency, but momentarily he appeared to be bewildered. Maybe it's something printing mistake in the translate when the BBT or something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, for Krishna it's the same potency. The example is in Srimantadvipa, Jagannath temple. We have the Srimantini temple there, who is the Yogamaya Devi, Prodamaya. Actually, she's there as Srimantini. She's the mistress of Srimantadvipa. And other form, Mayapur, she is there as Prodamaya. So when Mahaprabhu gave her a darshan, he gave Parvati Devi a darshan, and she was lamenting that I'm Maya Devi. Maya is always the shadow energy. It stays outside of the real energy. It cannot approach the transcendental energy. It's like the shadow cannot understand the sun. It's always backside energy. So, what is my fate? This was Parvati was saying to Mahaprabhu. What is my fate? You've come to give your mercy to the whole universe through your darshan and through your chanting. And everybody can get this, but except for me, I'm the only person in the universe that you're excluding from your mercy, because I'm Mahamaya, I'm shadow energy, I'm backside energy. What is my fate? This is why she was crying. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, from my angular vision, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's angular vision, I see that you are none different than Srimati Radharani, the topmost of all the internal potencies, Haladini potency. The Mahaprabhu, he saw what we would seeing the Parvati Devi, who is the wife of Lord Shiva, who is the maintainer of the universe, the creator of the universe, first creation. What was I saying? Yeah, so Mahaprabhu was saying, I see you as none different than Radharani, the topmost of my energies. That was Mahaprabhu's vision. So, in other words, he gave Parvati Devi self-realization. He told you, you are not that body, you are not Maya, you're Yogamaya. Mahaprabhu said, in Vrindavan you are there as Purnamasi, Yogamaya. Without your help I cannot perform my pastimes. So all the pastimes of Krishna are performed under Yogamaya. So Mahaprabhu said, without your help I cannot perform my pastimes. So this was Mahaprabhu's angle of vision. He could see that although everyone was saying Yoga Mahamaya, then Mahaprabhu, he said, I see you as being Yogamaya. Any comment on that? So, yes.
Then why, when creation is going, Lord doesn't touch this material energy?
When the creation is going, the Lord doesn't touch material energy. Huh?
In this sense, it's the material energy. He doesn't want to touch it. He touches it.
The Lord doesn't want to touch the material energy. In this connection, should it be considered material? No, definitely not material, because Krishna is directly involved here. Even though he's apparently lamenting momentarily, he's directly. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that you should know that all living entities are birth in this material world is made possible. Or for all these living entities, by my mercy, they're all allowed to take birth. So how? Aham bija patapita. I am the seed-giving father of everyone. Krishna doesn't touch the energy, so how can he be the seed-giving father? Krishna said, I'm the seed-giving father.
Because he's talking in the role of Lord Shiva.
He's talking in the role of Lord Shiva. Yes. Yeah. When Krishna says this, I am the seed-giving father, it means in the form of Lord Shiva, who is my avatar, Krishna's avatar. In the form of Lord Shiva, he is playing this function of touching material energy. So Krishna is not different than Shiva, almost yogurt and milk, but he's an avatar. And he touches the material energy. The material energy is what? Durga, known as Durga. And she is the Durga. Shiva's wife. He is the husband of Durga Devi. So who can touch Durga Devi? Only the husband. He can't touch. So therefore, Krishna in the form of Shiva, he touches the energy. Therefore he says, I am the seed. I am touching the material energy. But it's my wife. It's not a problem. So we also touch the material energy. Maya, material energy. But actually, am I touching material energy? No, it's the Hankara principle that is telling me that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the doer. This is the Hankara principle. This Hankara principle is Lord Shiva's Shakti. when he's glorifying, I think it's the Battle of Mongmashora, wasn't it? Anyway, Lord Shiva is glorifying Krishna after the battle. And Lord Shiva said, as far as I am concerned, I am your false ego. So in the Vishwarup, the Lord, he appears as the false ego. So even Krishna has a false ego in his form of Vishwarup. So he has. So we are touching material energy. Actually, we're not touching. But the ego, ahankara, is identifying with it and identifying as the body, identifying as the doer of activities. Krishna says these activities are carried about by me alone. Again, in the form of has this energy to touch, to deal with the material energy, assuming the form of Lord Shiva. Specifically for destruction, destroying the material world. So what's happening when I'm enjoying in this material world? I am the Purusha, this is my identity under false ego. This is the Prakriti, which the Purusha is going to enjoy the Prakriti. But actually the Purusha is Shiva in the form of Ahankara, and the Prakriti is Durga Devi. So all that's happening is the Ahankara of the living entity is touching Prakriti, trying to enjoy Prakriti. And so the Ahankara is Lord Shiva and Prakriti is Durga. So when we engage in any kind of sense gratification, it's simply Shiva engaging or touching Lord Prakriti, Durga. But our Ahankara is identifying as being the enjoyer and the controller. But actually, nobody's touching them except Shiva, who is, Krishna says that I am Aham Bijapatra, I give the seed. So Krishna is giving through the seed. So another nice point here was that how the Krishna is showing that he killed the Agashura, then the Agashura burst out through the Brahmaran, this hole in the head, top of the head, where the yogis live. Because he was purified by Krishna, he could leave through the top of his head. But he waited in the sky, in the effulgent. The living God is effulgent, we're also effulgent, we're a part and parcel of him. So he waited in the sky. Everybody could see, all the demigods and everyone could see the effulgence of Krishna. And he waited there for some time for Krishna to come out. So the effulgence was there in its individuality and all the demigods, all the demons, everyone was there, they could see it, individual. It didn't disappear, it didn't merge into a total effulgence. It was there separately, and all the other individuals who were effulgence, they were also present. This is the Mayapur philosophy, which is so... it says that if one jiva becomes liberated, he enters his effulgence, his own effulgence as Brahman. According to their philosophy, then everyone else, all the other Brahman sparks, Aham Brahmasmi, they should also be delivered. How can one be delivered if the philosophy is oneness, we're all one? How can one... It means that when one person becomes Brahman realized, it means everyone should become Brahman realized. Otherwise you're making a duality, you're splitting the soul. Soul cannot be cut, it cannot be... So the philosophy is not very sound. So anyway, because it's so prominent, Krishna came and gave this example that he's Brahman, Agashura is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. He went in the sky, he stayed there for some time. Then when Krishna came out, then he entered into the body of Krishna. And everybody could see that. So that was the a nice feature of Krishna. This is especially for the impersonalists. Krishna showed them that we are not all one, because you all saw Agasura, he was individual. He didn't merge in. All the individuals didn't merge. So Krishna personally showed by this example, kind of coming out of the body and waiting for some time. Krishna says, in the past, we are all eternal, souls are all eternal. In the past you were existing, in the past you were existing, in the future will all exist. At present you are existing, the soul is eternal. This is the philosophy. Past, present and future, the soul is eternal. So here was the Agasura's soul in the present. In the present, and then in the future, he entered into the body of Sarup Siddhi. So this is showing and proving that the soul is actually individual, they're all individual. And when one becomes liberated, they don't all become liberated. So it's a good argument here for Mayavadi preachers. In Hong Kong they have, China they have Buddhist, not exactly Mayavad, but similar. Okay. You have a question? Okay. Hare Krishna. In the spiritual world, Krishna is 15, 16 years old. Nava Yuvanam, he's a youth. Krishna is always a youth in his Kishore age in Vrindavan. So where does the parental rasa come in here? People want to worship Krishna as a baby, Balagopal and others. So the idea is that, you're a grown woman, but you're not a child, and you were a child. So what part of your life would you consider to be eternal, your real identity with age? So the original feature of Godhead is this Krishna in his Kishore age, in the Parakya rasa. This is the pastime and the feature of the Krishna. This is the original feature of Godhead. And all the other features are to support Radha Krishna, pastime, meeting and separation. So that's the original feature of God. He's got to be some age. So he chooses this Kishore, just coming into manhood. He chooses to live at this age. And so that's the original feature of Godhead. But the others, he's gone through his childhood. Of course, it's an eternal pastime. But he displays childhood pastime in the material world. But in the spiritual world, the sentiment of Krishna being my baby, my child, is there. when he went to Mathura and other places also. Vasudeva, and he was 15, 16, right? He killed Kamsa. 15, 16 years old, but when he met Vasudeva and Devaki, they sat him on their lap. I don't know if it mentions they breastfed him. I don't think he does. But they had that affection as a child. They put him on their laps and they were kissing him and things. But he was a young boy. It's Kishore. So the sentiment of youth is there. The gopis don't have husbands in the spiritual world, but the sentiment of we have husbands, that increases the rasa. You shouldn't be alone. The man and woman shouldn't be alone in dead of night. But he is with others' husbands as well. It shouldn't be there. But this is churning the ras. It's specifically this parakya ras, the fear of the elders, especially fear of the husbands. Is God's greatest happiness. This is the original feature of Godhead. All the other features, Krishna with the boys in the calves in the forest, that's to assist Radha and Krishna's meeting and separate their meeting, because they get an opportunity to go to the forest with herding the cows. Then the gopis have an opportunity to come and collect water at the same time, and they meet Krishna, Radha Kund. So all the other features of Godhead, parental, the mother and father, they'll send their tiffin box halfway. They go out first, and the mothers send the tiffin boxes from home later on. You see here, you can't see so much, but when we were first here, it was nobody around, so you could see how things were happening. And the local kids and workers, farmers, they were working here. But you'll see about noontime, one little kid will come with the tiffin, with their tiffins. So they do that. The family members cook, and then they send it out to their husbands and kids and everything who are working out in the field. So they have a little tiffin. So what was I saying? They had a little tiffin. Anyway, so like that, they're thinking that Krishna, he'll get hungry out there. They're thinking of Krishna as my son, I'll make this tiffin, he can go out. Yeah, so the sentiment is there, but but this is for churning the rasa. So this is the original feature of Godhead. So he's got to be at a certain age. So somebody likes him as a baby, someone likes him as a youth, somebody likes him at Kurukshetra. Lots of people like him as a Kshatriya. So they'll get a birth in the position where their worshipful deity is performing his pastimes, and they'll join that pastime there. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shamaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Any?
Any demon killed by Krishna will certainly, for sure, get liberation.
That's what we hear. We see practically that all the demons he killed, they got liberation. But these are not ordinary demons also. Most of these are special demons. They have some relationship in the past that they can come to Vrindavan and have fight with Krishna or something like that. Most of those demons, they've had a relationship. Who? Why did I get Sarupya Mukti? Usually they get Sayuja Mukti. The Agashora, he got both. He got Sayuja Mukti, he merged into the light, and then later on it mentioned in the purport that a couple of places more, Bhagavatam says that he attained Swarupa. He got a form like Vishnu, 4 arms and everything. Why? Maybe because his brother and sister also. Yeah, Putana, Baka, sure. Baka, what does it say? Does it mention? Baka, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that is also to show that this is the goal. You can merge into my body also. Or you can get a body to serve me. Prabhupada said these were big demons. Famous. We may not get one like that again for in Kali Yuga. So Krishna was assisting in service. Haga. Yeah, when that body dried up a bit, the boys would go up and make slides and everything, and they would play on that as a mounting. So it was created for the boys were thinking actually somebody's created this for our playground. They didn't know it was a real demon. They thought it was an imitation. They'd made it for our playground. Oh, let's go and play in there. But Krishna said, hey, this is Aga, this is not the playground. But, yeah, every time they went that way where the corpse was, they would go and play, and so they're rendering service by becoming the playground of Krishna. So therefore they can get Sayuja, Sarupya. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those who are envious, miscreants, the lowest of them, I perpetually cast them into demoniac species. Krishna is not very merciful when he's speaking like that. I throw them into demoniac species of life.
When he was describing how when the living entity touches the material energy, it's actually Shiva who's represented by the 4 seagull enjoying Durga. So if it's Shiva and Durga, what's happening? Why should the living entity take any reaction, karma for that?
Didn't quite get it. What?
If in the material world you're trying to enjoy the material energy, it's just Shiva and Durga actually, then why should the living entity take reaction, karma?
Why should he take reaction?
Yeah, because it was actually Shiva and Durga enjoying reciprocate.
He's identifying with that.
So why doesn't
aspect of Shiva, that body, the material body, is like Shiva's energy, but he's identifying it as me and mine. Therefore, he gets a reaction. He performs the activities. You touch Devi, Durga Devi, so you have to get the reaction.
You said it was Shiva.
Huh?
You said it was Shiva, actually Shiva.
Yeah, but it's your desire. Your desire is there, and it's carried out by Shiva.
Because the living entity, he gets the experience, right?
Yeah, he experiences the results of the activity.
So what's going on there? Shiva's enjoying Parvati, and the living entity is enjoying the also.
Living entities enjoying.
Also,
Also, yeah.
they perform an activity to enjoy material energy, but you're saying it's actually Shiva enjoying the Parvati. That's what's actually going on. That the living entity is also getting some experience from that activity.
Yeah, Radha and Krishna are there, and Krishna's enjoying Radha. And Lord Narayan is enjoying Lakshmi. Shiva is enjoying Durga. And then the living entity, he's enjoying.
What?
He has consort, he has activities in material. Living entities have a consort, there's a Durga.
The living entity has consort.
Yeah.
Who is that?
The material energy, yeah.
That's Shiva's consort.
No, Shiva is the consort of Shiva is Durga.
Yes. So how can the living entity enjoy Durga?
Huh?
How can the living entity enjoy Durga? Sati.
Because he's identifying himself as Shiva, as the enjoyer, under the impression of the false ego. Oh, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, that's his identity. So who am I consorting with? So I have my consort. Material energies. So it all starts Radha Krishna's pleasure. It gets reflected down Lakshmi Narayan. Shri Parvati. Demigods. Then we're imitation. Clear imitation. Trying to be the enjoyers. Okay. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Bhakta Agashora ki jai.